Hi everybody and welcome to our inaugural edition of 2018 of the SoCal Prep Report. I'm Rich Estrella, along with the usual suspects Bob Gibson and Mo Orr. Randy Rosenbloom with the LA City section is going to join us shortly. We got a lot to cover today. Football season, fellas, you got to love it.
It's back.
It's the best time of year.
Exciting.
That's right. So now we're going to take a look at, we're going to go straight into the top 10. You get to see what's been going on with the upper echelon of football. We'll talk about everybody at some point, but right now let's just hop into it and see who's on top, and I guess who it is. I bet you can't even figure it out, right? A team that's lost a game already is still number one in my book.
Well,
And we're talking about Mater Dei. Of course, they're leading the board there. You see they're trailed by St. John Bosco. And you know, guys, a lot of national polls have Bosco and Mater Dei 1 and 2 or 2 and 1. I mean, whatever. They flip-flop them.
Yep.
But some people out there believe that these are the two best teams in the country. They probably are.
well, other than IMG is going to have something to say about that.
IMG's not a high school, Bob. When are you going to get that?
I hear
in
you.
your
I
head?
hear you. But officially,
Yeah,
they're
no,
considered
no.
a team that competes.
What league
with
they
high
play
school
in, Bob?
teams. They don't.
And what state playoff are they in, Bob?
They don't.
Okay.
They don't. It's a football factory.
It's the
we know
only
that.
place, we've said it before, it's the only place where your 40 time is supersedes your SATs, right?
It's the truth.
It does. It's number one. So they don't care about SAT scores or grade point averages. It's all about your 40 time, brother.
But a couple weeks from now, they're going to play Mater Dei.
They are.
So we're going to find out who
Somebody's
the
gotta
best
play
team.
'em.
We're going to
Who's
find
the
out
best
who
team in the country?
nation is.
Yeah.
We're going to find
Whatever.
out. And we'll see. But that game could go any different way, and Bosco could still be the best team, right?
You know what? That game is so far. Why are we even wasting time on it?
Right.
All right? You have to,
Okay.
Bob, you always bring up an argument, man. You really got a problem.
You know, this is what it's all about. It's all about
Nothing's
arguing this stuff. That's
I
what's
know.
great about top tens.
All right, so Corona Centennial, we all agree, is probably the third best. Last year, they would have not taken that drubbing against St. John Bosco had they not lost their 6'7" flamethrower.
That is true.
Your boy, Mo.
That's true. That's true.
It happens. It hurts.
It does happen. That's a part of football. You have to be able to play through injuries
Right.
in order to reach that pinnacle.
Next man up, right?
Next man
man
up.
up.
That's the
That's
way
what
it
it's
works.
gotta be,
That
you know?
is the way it works.
All right, continuing on, we have Orange Lutheran. Now, Lou lost earlier this season to Corona Centennial. In a game, if you just listened to it, you would have thought Corona's out of it. But Corona defeated them 45-24, something like that. And Orange Lutheran was up early, but it's Corona Centennial. Synonymous with, it's Titletown, basically.
Titletown.
What's Logan got? 10 C.I.F championships?
At
Literally,
least.
we're not even exaggerating.
No, that's not an
We are the
exaggeration,
kings
right.
of exaggeration, but we're not exaggerating
Not on
at
that
that
one.
point.
Well, Rich, I was watching this game. I watched the first half.
Right.
I turned it off and went away. I
did?
called
Right,
called
you did,
you
you did.
and said, "Oh my God, did you see how Orange Lutheran just beat up on Corona Centennial?" You said, "No, they didn't."
No, just
right?
hold on a minute.
I told Mo,
They
listen,
Hold on a minute.
at any time they could score 40 points in a quarter, and they pretty much
they
did.
did.
48 points.
But I give it to Olu, they hung in there for a half. All right?
They did.
And Corona, I'm telling you, it's either Mater Dei or Bosco. Those are the only two in the area that can actually stand up to Centennial. Logan just reloads, constantly reloads. All right, Bob, who's next up? Who's after Centennial?
That's
Or-
Mission
or
Viejo.
Lutheran? Mission Viejo. Your boy.
Brand new head coach down there.
No, it ain't brand new. It's the same staff, man. Bob Johnson didn't have
They
his
just
name
moved him
attached
up.
to it.
Just
What are you
moved
kidding
him up.
about?
It's a new guy named Johnson.
Yeah, another
It's
Johnson.
another Johnson. No
Hey.
relation, I don't think.
Bob,
Yeah.
But
Well,
Mission Viejo still.
are they
really
they
good.
out of their mind right now? Mission Viejo, they are just tearing everybody up.
They got a really good quarterback in Joey Yellen down there. I mean, he's getting it done. And, you know, Mission Viejo, another team that just seems to reload every year, right? I mean, that's just, they get a lot of that good talent out of Southern Orange County right there. You like to think Santa Margarita and some of those other schools get them. That's all landing at Mission Viejo these days.
Absolutely, man. Everybody thought it was Bob Johnson winning those titles. Apparently, it's the area that's winning those titles, man. If he walks out, actually, his sons have taken over the program, so it's really no surprise. But they are playing pretty good. I don't know what the difference in the dynamic is, but they're doing pretty good right now.
Apparently, it doesn't really matter because
Yeah.
they're still getting good athletes there.
It's about that system.
Yep. Upland is up next. What's Upland, Bob? Number 7? Yeah,
Upland
number
is
6.
6.
Okay, they're one of the only teams out of Division I that make this situation because they play good teams week in and week out.
They do.
That's not the case this week, though. They play La Mirada. It's like everybody's punching bag right now. What happened to the Matadors?
No. Lamarada's going to be okay. Lamarada's going to be okay.
How can you say that? They play Upland, man.
Mater Dei had their way with them, but Mater Dei's going to have their way with almost every team, right? La Mirada does this. They play a tough schedule. La Mirada looks okay. Like Bishop Amat. Bishop Amat got handled by Mater Dei. Bishop Amat's going to be okay. La Mirada, once they get into their division, are going to be just fine. That La Mirada team has some talent on it. Don't sleep on them.
No.
Well, we'll
La
see.
Mirada probably finished 4th in a 4-team league. The Suburban League was disbanded. Bob, listen.
That league is different this year. That league is a lot different
Let me
this
help
year.
Bob out.
Help him out.
All right, Bob. The Suburban League was disbanded
Yes, it was.
this year. Okay, half the teams
Reduced.
left. There's only 4 teams.
Reduced.
now,
There's
okay?
only 4 teams in the Suburban.
That's right, and they're going to finish probably 4th in a 4-team race this year.
No.
How are
Come
they
on,
going to decide
Bob.
the
Believe
league
that.
winners?
I'm
I
telling
refuse
you.
to believe that.
All right, you can refuse it.
All right.
Don't look for things to get better this week against Upland because
That's
Upland
probably
is very, very good. All right, Oaks Christian coming in at number 7. I mean, Oaks Christian does have a signature win this year. So I don't know. They're hard to gauge as far as trying to be a top 10 team because it seems like since Bill Riddell left, they've been having some trouble. They did win a title, but they seem to be struggling. I don't know if it's with the recruits or what's going up there in Westlake, Bob.
I think it's the middle of this top 10 here that's going to fluctuate throughout the season. I really do. I think we're going to see a lot of movement this season among these teams because I think a team like J. Serra could end up jumping. That looks like a good team. Servite's kind of laying down there, aren't they?
Yeah.
I was
Laying in the
surprised to
wings.
see them at 10 to start the season.
Sarah's only played 2 games this year, and they're 1-1. But again, they play good schools. They're not playing lower division. They're playing Division I schools all the way down
Right.
the line. Jay Serra, going to be interesting to see where they end up. They usually go undefeated until they get in the league, in
Yeah,
the preseason. And I think again, they're 2-1. They're following suit.
Well, what does it
as
take?
you said, Servite.
Mater Dei had their way with Bishop Amat, and J. Serra is a 1-point win over Bishop Amat. So
That's a good way to put it, Bob.
we're kind of sizing up the Trinity League. There you go.
Hey,
It'll be very interesting. Very interesting.
You have to. And Jay Serra, and then they got Pinnacle this week, Arizona. They're a pretty good team in there. I think they're number 3 in the state. They're always in the playoffs. They always go deep. So we'll see what happens with that game. But man, there are so many good games. This week. The Bosco Paramount game. That used to be a really good game back in the 80s and 90s. It's changed a little bit now with Bosco's ascension to the top of the heat,
Right.
man. Nationally,
Oh,
St. John Bosco does a really good job. They got
there's another team to reload. Jason Negro just reloads Bosco every year.
Yeah, well, it happens, man, with those
Bosco.
Trinity League schools.
Well, we'll see.
But yeah, so really no surprises yet this year in the C.I.F. Southern section. It's the same guys: Mater Dei, Bosco, Centennial, Mission Viejo, and Mission Viejo might surprise
Right?
some
You
people,
never know.
man. I don't know.
They might
But
be-
I'll argue that St. John Bosco is the number 1 ranked team in the.
You do that.
Yeah, I will.
planting your
I
flag
will.
on that one?
I'm planting my flag on that one.
All right.
They have the best cornerback in the
right.
league right now. Top-rated cornerback in the southern section, with Chris Steele.
All right. Well, before we talk to the city section, we're going to talk to Anthony White. We're going to talk about Centennial and Narbonne coming up this Friday. Before we do that, let's take a look at our sponsors. And see that number 1, we got the Yard House in Brea. So when you get some time, go out to the Yard House, check things out, have a good meal, enjoy yourself. They're redoing the exterior. I'm talking about the patio area.
Really?
Bob, it's going to be like the New York Stock Exchange in there. They're going to have monitors wall to wall, 3 deep, right?
Yeah, probably about 50 TVs.
80-inch monitors, right?
80-inch monitors.
Love
yeah.
it.
They're going to run ESPN on
Love
one. They're going to run Fox Sports on the other.
And
then
SoCal Prep Report on all the other ones.
That's right.
go.
Absolutely.
They're showing the Rams games all
That's
season?
right.
Probably the Raiders.
Also like to thank the KM3 Project as well. All right, joining us now is the coach, Anthony White, the only high school Heisman Trophy winner in Southern California. Anthony, thanks for joining us today.
Of course, thank you for having me.
Now, looking at that top 10, is it right? Is Mater Dei the best? Is it Bosco? And then who's the sleeper in this division?
You know, one thing I would say, I would agree with Mo. Mo picked St. John Bosco to be number 1. I agree with him 100%. The quarterback is the number 1 quarterback, not only in California, not only in the Trinity League, but in the nation. You see this guy looks like Big Ben playing high school football. Chris Steele, the cornerback he mentioned, number 1, is an incredible athlete, is going to do a great job. They're going to be hard to beat, especially with that vertical passing game. All the seasons they had where they were very successful, they were running the ball, they were using a lot of quarterback runs. They got that vertical passing game, they're going to be successful.
Wow, going to be interesting to see. Again, the top 3 are interchangeable. You take the 3 out, it's a dogfight between Orange Lutheran, Mission, Upland, Oaks Christian. I mean, I really want to be sold on Oaks Christian, but again, they ousted their coach after winning the title. There's a lot of disarray there. They got a new coach. Just not sold on him yet, but we'll find out. We'll find out what's going on
Yes, sir.
over at Oaks. So, but interesting stuff. Now let's talk about the game of the week this week. We're going to televise the Corona Centennial Narbonne game. And Anthony, when this game, you look at the scheduling, man, this game was big, but things haven't quite worked out for the state champion so far this year.
Yo, definitely. They went to Hawaii week 0, played St. Louis High School, which is one of the best high schools in all of Hawaii.
They're in the top 10 in the country.
And maybe they spent a little bit too much time at the beach because they got rolled upon. Then they had a little bit of a hangover against Long Beach Poly. They brought it back last week, so they got a W under their belt. But, I mean, they're a young team. They went to the state championship. They got a lot of seniors. They're all gone. They got a sophomore quarterback, sophomore leading rusher. So what I'm going to look for is if they can control the clock and see what they can do against Corona.
Going to be interesting. Going to be tough. It's going to be tough to control the clock. You know, Centennial has always been a big play, big strike team. They could come out, score 3 or 4 touchdowns in a quarter, no sweat, won't even think about it. I've seen them put up 30 points in a mere 4 or 5 minutes, so they're deadly. You know, if you listen to the game, you would have thought that Corona was dead in the first half, down by, 24 points or thereabouts?
Exactly.
And they came right back in the second half and caught up before the fourth quarter even started, pretty much. I mean, you could just tell the balance of power shifted very quickly.
Definitely. One of the things as a coach, they used to say if you have 2 quarterbacks, you don't have one. Now, Corona and Centennial, they look like they have 2 quarterbacks that can do it all, and they're gonna ride them to the end.
They're both juniors, aren't they?
Yes, they both are.
Normally, 2 quarterback systems are tough, but a lot of people are going to it now. And with the seasons being as long as they are and arduous as they are, maybe it's a good idea to let your backup guy have some playing time. You know, and Corona always has big play wide receivers. It's just, I think this game hopefully will be better. I was talking to Rosenbloom earlier. He says Narbonne will be a lot better than the first couple of games they played this year have shown. They'll probably be ready. We'll be ready for Centennial, but we're going to talk with him about that in a little bit and find out, man, what's going on. I would love to see a great game. I mean,
we all would.
I still think it may be, but man, it's just been a surprise. You know, it seems like the powers in the city sections just aren't showing me any flex appeal right now.
Definitely. Coming back from that deficit against Orange Lutheran, you could just see the program grow. And really, Narbonne versus Corona Centennial, it's really a program versus a team.
Right.
Narbonne has some great teams, but Corona Centennial is a great program. And you're going to see a program versus a team on Friday, and we'll see if Narbonne's up to the challenge.
We'll see. All right, join Anthony White and myself. I believe the game's going to be 11 p.m. right here. So check it out on Friday night. You know, we wish we can go earlier, but Southern Section's got their rules, man, when they got their sponsorships going. So the Ashers will come on. We'll probably come on a little earlier with this show again and maybe the pregame show.
That's right.
Anthony, thanks a bunch, man.
Thank you, sir.
We'll see you on Friday. Don't
Yes,
walk
sir.
away now. All right, let's take a real quick look at the top 10 in the national picture. All right, let's take a look at the national top 10, and to me, it looks a lot like the Southern Section top 10. Of course, Mater Dei, the defending national champ, sitting on top. In our book, you're the defending national champ. You're the champ until somebody knocks you off. Mater Dei did lose a game, but not really, all right? St. John Bosco, number 2, followed by St. Louis of Hawaii. Now, to give you an idea how good St. Louis of Hawaii is, at least it used to be a benchmark, they destroyed Narbonne 47-7, all right? That's a pretty decisive win. St. John's of D.C. defeated Hoover 42-14. Now, Hoover's the number 1 team in Alabama, so that's how good St. John's is if they're running over the number 1 team that easy. All right, St. Francis of Maryland, their first game's this Friday. I don't know why these guys haven't had a game yet. Maybe they're going to play all the way through and not have a bye, but they haven't played yet, but they do get a lot of respect. St. Francis finished very high last year, and they have a lot of returning players, so there's no reason to think that they would slip. St. Thomas Aquinas of Florida, their signature win was over DeMatha, 38-0. DeMatha, the number 1 team in Maryland. Now, Maryland's about the size of Anaheim, but it doesn't matter. It counts. They're the best team in that area. They're a little bit bigger than that, but not much. All right, Corona Centennial checks in at number 7. Of course, they beat Orange Lutheran pretty easy, and then they beat Pittsburgh up north in California. So, man, those guys just roll. We'll talk more about Matt Logan's team a little bit later. De La Salle, number 8. Now, they defeated Folsom. Folsom won 16 games last year. They were 16-0. They won the state championship, and they got defeated 17-0. But look at De La Salle is De La Salle. All right, they're in the top 10 as well at number 8, as we talked about. Okay, Colquitt County, Georgia, the number 1 ranked team in Georgia. No game this week, and then Allen Tex rounds out the top 10. They're the number 1 ranked team in the state of Texas. What a mess that was, but I enjoyed it. All right, joining us now to talk about the Los Angeles City section is Randy Rosenbloom. Randy, how you doing?
Rich, always a pleasure to be here.
All right, Randy. Looking at the city section, the thing that jumps out to me besides your defending stud, Narbonne, they seem to have had a rough go this season. I really didn't expect them, despite the quality of the opponents, I expected them to be maybe 2-1 at this point because they haven't really been, some of these games have been blowouts, and that's what concerns me.
Well, keep in mind they lost to St. Louis of Hawaii last year. It was much closer than this year's game, and that was a tough road trip. And as was mentioned earlier on the show, that's a very young and talented Narbonne team. Then on a short week, coming from Honolulu, they come back and they have to play Pauley, Long Beach Pauley.
Yeah.
Tight game through 3.5 quarters, lost in the stretch drive. Then they turn around and beat Palos Verdes. Got the Corona Centennial game this week. Tough games ahead with Serra and Lawndale. But I believe they're still the best team in the LA City section. Talent will prevail. Manuel Douglas has won 8 city titles there, and he's won 5 in a row if he can get this one. He's at 4. The record's 6 by Banning. He's at 4. He believes he'll get 5 this year.
He just might. I mean, it's just been a slow start. Seeing the Marine League just, in the preseason, you're used to seeing these guys after 3 games being like, the top 3 teams being like, 6-2 or something like that. And we're just not seeing that this year, man.
Well, San Pedro's 2-1, so they're off to a decent start, and the Pirates are always going to get you 7 or 8 wins. Banning struggled in their first 2 games, new coaching staff, but they rushed for 8 touchdowns last week, and they clobbered Dominguez. And the city section came back last week. They were 8 out of 11 against the southern section, so there was great improvement in week 3. The other factor is the middle-of-the-road packed schools. There's some very good teams. Westchester with Jevelyn Carter setting a record, throwing for 7 touchdowns last week against St. Bernard. Westchester's a surprise. 3-0, they've been the underdog every week. Garfield, 3-0.
The Bulldogs.
Reseda, undefeated. Canoga Park with a brilliant wide receiver, and Joshua Christopher, 3-0. So there's schools out there that we don't think about too much, at least in the past, that are doing it this year. And the other one is Birmingham. They're 2-0. Jim Rose told me before the year he felt he had one of the great offenses in Southern California. He questioned how good his defense was going to be, and all they did win last week was 56-0 over LaSalle. So obviously the defense showed up.
Birmingham's averaging 43 points a game, probably the highest total in the city section right now, and they're going to have a pretty good road this week against a very small school in St. Paul. St. Paul has like maybe 275 kids in it, but they can play football.
That's a tough game. I think this is a real tough game for Birmingham, maybe the toughest left along with Notre Dame of Sherman Oaks on their schedule. Keep in mind, St. Paul's already had a big win over Venice, 35-0. This will be a tough game for Birmingham.
All right, let's talk about the city section. They now have a Hall of Fame, and Randy, guess what? We got them all up. Let's line them up. Here we go.
All right, we're thinking in terms of football now, because there's 20 new inductees that's been named this week. Now, you look at some of these names.
Yep.
Anthony Davis, AD, great football player at San Fernando. In fact, he played in a high school football game in the San Fernando Valley where they had 17,000 at Birmingham. They won the game against Granada Hills. Granada ended up beating them in the playoffs. But Anthony Davis, one of the legendary figures, went on to
USC.
SC, 6 touchdowns against
Absolutely.
Notre Dame. Then you got Chris and Vince Ferragamo.
They play them together?
Well, they're going into the Hall of Fame. They didn't play together. Chris
No,
actually
that's what
coached.
I said. They're going in together.
They are going in together.
course,
Chris
of course.
and Vince.
Yep.
Chris has won 9 city titles as the
Banning.
Banning coach.
Yep.
And Vince, we all know, the quarterback. Paul Knox won 4 city titles at Dorsey. Fabulous guy, just a wonderful gentleman, and he really got it done for many years at Dorsey. There's Jim Tunney.
Official.
Yep, he was a principal at Hollywood High and
Was he
Lincoln.
really?
Principal.
Wow.
And guess what? He's the only referee to do 2 Super Bowls back-to-back. He's done that. And the last one on the list was Freeman McNeil, another great player from Banning in '77. And Banning, as I mentioned earlier, won 6 city titles. That's the mark Narbonne is shooting for. Of course, they got to get to 5 first. But Freeman McNeil was very much a part of that.
And then
group.
Rosenbloom. Randy, how did you sneak in there, man? What's going on with you?
And I got to give some credit to Eric Sotheimer's in as well from Poly High School. So he's an alumnus of this program as
Good,
well. So
good.
I'm thrilled. It's a great honor, 20 inductees, and to go in as part of the media,
Right.
to get in as a contributor is a fabulous achievement, and one that I'm going to not take lightly. I'm really proud to get
Randy,
in
it's
there.
hard to get in as a contributor, man. I'll tell
Yeah.
you that right now.
Especially when you talk about the names that are there, the Marcus Johnson, the John Elways, the Robin Younts, you can go, or Bobby Riggs, you can go on and on and on, because there's legendary names in the
LA's
LA
loaded.
City section. So yeah, I'm thrilled to be part of
loaded.
that.
All right, Randy. Well, listen, congratulations, my
Yeah.
friend. Well
Thank you.
deserved.
I appreciate that.
Nobody's done more with the Los Angeles City section than Randy. I can attest to that. All right, we're going to now come back. We're going to talk to the boys about some key games this week in the C.I.F Southern section. All right, joining us now, we got Mo and Bob back, and this is when every week we go through this, look at some key games. And a key game this week in my book is Alemany against Oaks Christian. Both teams are 3-0. Oaks Christian has had a little bit better preseason schedule. Has Alemany's the combined win-loss of Alemany's preseason schedule is
Not good.
1-6.
Right.
All right, and it's transposed for Oaks Christian. Again, we know there's a new staff at Oaks Christian, but the talent level is the same, if not better. That may be enough to carry them through a coach that's in a transition. It may be. We'll see. Alemany, they're always pretty good, but lately they just haven't been able to get over the hump and get into the finals.
A few years back, this would have been a prime match. This might have been the game of the year kind of
Yeah.
kind of matchup. But Brian, I'm taking Oaks Christian here in a fairly easy victory.
And I'm going to take Oaks Christian as well. They have a pro-style defense. I think that they'll do match up well against Alemany. Oaks Christian, 48-22.
Think so? He's probably right, All right, Mo, that's pretty bold of you,
I'm not
by the
gonna
way.
argue
That's
it.
pretty
I like
I'm
to
not
put it
gonna
out
argue
there.
it.
You guys are so over the top. I just go 48-22.
Actually put a score
Oaks
on
Christian.
it. All right.
Another game we're going to talk about is Folsom at Chaminade. Both teams are 2-1. Now, Folsom's loss was to De La Salle, like we were talking earlier.
Does Folsom come out to Johnny Cash songs?
I have no
Tell me they
idea,
do,
man,
please.
but all I know,
Right?
Chaminade's going to take on the defending state champion. These are the kind of games I like to see early on. Chaminade's not bad either. They were always in the hunt, and this will be a good game for them, but Folsom's still pretty good because a 17-0 loss to De La Salle is like a win.
Ed Crozier's a brilliant head coach. He does a fine job over there. But Folsom's nobody to mess with, right? Folsom,
No.
man, they win.
They're a
Northern
rattlesnake,
section, they
a
win
viper.
championship after championship in that northern section up there. So this is a tough one. I like this matchup. It's sneaky good.
Here we
Folsom's
go.
Good.
28,
Mo's got it.
28-26, Chaminade.
All right, that's pretty bold. That's another bold one. I got you. Good luck with that. Okay, Serra, 1-1, taking on Long Beach Poly, who's 2-1. Long Beach Poly, hey, they were doing great until they ran into Los Alamitos,
What happened there?
Well,
I was talking to Randy about that earlier.
They
What
were playing
happened?
city section, man, and right now they came out of the gate slow. Basically, that's as far as my book they have.
If you're Paula, you cannot lose to Los Alamitos like that. Los Alamitos, this is not the Los Alamitos of 10 or 15 years ago.
It's a big upset.
Maybe
might
this
be
isn't
better.
But maybe this isn't
They
the
might
Poly
be
of 10 or
better.
15 years ago. I don't know.
Los Alamitos is a pretty good
right.
good school right now. I mean,
But this is
your boy
Poly.
John Barnes is gone.
Long
That's why they're
Beach
better.
Poly, man. This is,
Yeah.
they were a
franchise.
national ranked team not long ago.
Long Beach Poly's had a lot of problems winning since Laura left.
That's true.
Laura won 7 championships, C.I.F championships in 20 years. I mean, that's a lot. Some schools don't even get to a C.I.F championship in their history. This guy's taking them pretty much routinely, but as they should. That school's got 6,500
That's my
students in
point.
it.
That's my
That's a
point.
city.
It's Poly.
Yeah.
Come
I don't
on.
know. I don't know what's
We'll
going
see.
on.
Well, I do. And what I'm going to tell you right now is
Go ahead, Bo.
44-21 Poly.
Ooh.
Really?
Wow.
All right.
You heard it here first. SoCal Prep Report.
Sarah's in the top 10. Poly got knocked
Holy
out, but all right,
smokes.
Mo, that's a good one. I
There we
like
go.
that. That's a bold one right
That
there.
really is bold.
All right,
too.
continuing on, Santa Margarita 1-2 against Mayfair. Santa Margarita has had a good preseason schedule, but so has Mayfair. All right. If Santa Margarita put this game on their schedule thinking that this is a cakewalk, you might have another thing coming this week
right?
because, Mayfair, they're a tiny school. Mayfair's only got 1,400 students in it, if that. Mayfair is a junior high school that was turned into a high school. And I'm not kidding about that. That's a fact. So to see Santa Margarita way up there, that Trinity League, coming down to play these little suburban league schools that Mater Dei just beat La Mirada 49-0, you guys better be paying attention because this Mayfair team's just not going to lay down and die.
I think Santa Margarita wins this, but not as easy as people might think. And Mo,
I'm glad you agree with me because I was going to tell you Santa Margarita will win this game. It'll be a tight one, 21-22 Santa Margarita.
It's not like Mayfair. Mayfair's beat Long Beach, Wilson, and they got 4,500 students in that school. It's a little school that can. They beat Lakewood last week, You know, Lakewood's another 5,000 plus students. These are big high schools with storied football programs. Mayfair can handle them.
They're the Monsoons after all.
We'll see. The Monsoons.
Aren't they? Mayfair Monsoons.
Have you seen
right?
their mascot?
No, what is it?
All right, you got to. It's a
monsoon.
monsoon.
Okay then.
All right, we talked about this earlier with Randy with Birmingham taking on St. Paul. Birmingham 3-0, St. Paul. Excuse me, Birmingham 2-0, St. Paul 3-0. Both of these teams score. Birmingham averages 43 points a game. St. Paul averages about 34 points a game. But St. Paul's competition defensively has been much better than what Birmingham has played to date. So I don't know. We're going to find out, brothers.
Mo says?
This is the easiest pick of the whole thing. It's going to be 42-33.
Really?
Birmingham.
All right. I like that. All right, let's take a look at a couple other games they have up for us. Pinnacle of Phoenix taking on J. Serra. Pinnacle, number 3 ranked team in the state of Arizona.
I like Coach Pat Harlow and the J. Serra Lions taking on all comers this year. You know, they're ready. This is the J. Serra team that I think is ready to compete with some of the big boys. And I think J. Serra is going to give Mater Dei a little something this year.
Bob,
that's a few weeks off, but I'm telling you.
This is the pinnacle of Arizona football here, my brother.
Pinnacle.
I don't care.
That's why they call it Pinnacle, my brother.
I actually looked up Pinnacle.
Arizona cannot compete with California. Cannot be done.
They can't
But go
beat
ahead, tell us, Mo.
California,
Give
but
us
I
the-
can tell
give
you
us
this
the
is going to
score.
be a nice one. 21-14, Pinnacle from Phoenix.
All right. And let's talk about that.
Really?
Let's talk about Lawndale and Leuzinger, my
Talk
brothers.
about that one next
What do you got?
Oh, this is easy.
You can't go by the records on this one.
Well, you don't need to go by the record. Go by the name. This is
Okay.
going to be Lawndale's victory.
Okay.
Think of it. Leuzinger. You're welcome.
Did you go to high school with that guy?
I love it.
Leuzinger.
All right, Mo. You got to love it. All right. Where's John Conti been? Where's John?
Is he around?
Oh, here he comes. All right.
Hey,
John, right
Conte.
there.
Hey.
So, look at John. John's been hiding the
He's-
whole
you're
show.
right.
He comes out of the
Where you
truck.
come from,
He
bro?
does
Comes out of
a
the
minute
shadows.
laugh. Now John's coming out. What's up, man?
Someone's got to be on this side to make you guys look good. I'm the guy feeding Mo all the stats, all the scores.
All the jokes. Yeah, he's feeding them all the.
We knew a guy who came
BS,
out of the
man.
shadows one time. It wasn't John, but you know.
Let's be coming out of the show. I had to put a stop to this. Mo giving out his
All right.
scores.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
got
please put a stop to Mo giving out these
it. All right.
ridiculous
John
scores.
Conti will join us in Bob's place. Bob won't be working
Yes.
the game of the week. What are you doing? You get Mater Dei stuff? Really?
Yeah,
Really?
I'm going to go see Mater Dei this week.
See, he's on the bandwagon right now. He's
see the
following the
Mater
number
Dei
1
game.
teams in the country. He's got to be on that. He's got to be on Bosco's.
He's
coattails
just trying
right
to,
now.
if he
He's
goes
bandwagon.
now, he gets tickets to the IMG Academy
Hey,
game.
I like that.
How about that, huh?
Mo's got the idea.
All right. All right, John, we'll see you on Friday, man.
All right, I got big shoes to fill.
Yeah, you do.
He wears an 11.
Size 13s right
Bob,
there.
those are ugly shoes, by the way. I
Those
just
are
got to say
nice.
that. You
Those are
know.
nice.
Hey, those are Adidas, too.
All right,
Adidas,
man. All right, hey, any more games you want us to preview? Because we got to get rolling. Like to remind everybody, Corona Centennial taking on Narbonne. That'll be the game of the week. Check it out on Friday. Check your listings, man. I'm sure it'll be on a few times, all right? And on our way out, we want to introduce you. Come on, Joey. Come on up, my brother. Joey Conti.
There he is.
What's up, man? How's your team doing? Your soccer team? You guys play soccer, baseball? He's
What
a
do we-
karate.
didn't I tell
He's a
you that
karate man.
Volleyball.
Volleyball, and he's a karate man.
Where's your hat?
All right, he's bad. He's been taught by Bruce Lee's kid back in the day.
Got the best hat
here.
going. You got the best hat in town.
All right, on behalf of Bob Gibson,
You do.
this is Mo Orr, Randy Rosenbloom, John Conti. I'm Richard Estrella saying so long from your friends here at the SoCal Prep Report. See you next week.